shepherd of my soul is by my side. Should I face a mighty mountain or a valley dark and deep, the shepherd of my soul will be my guide. నెమ్మదైన పచ్చికలైన సెలయేరు ప్రక్కనైనా నా ఆత్మ కాపరి నా తోడుగా. గొప్ప కొండలు ఎదురైనా లోతైన లోయలైనా నా ఆత్మ కాపరి నా తోడుండను. నెమ్మదైన పచ్చికలైన సెలయేరు ప్రక్కనైనా నా ఆత్మ కాపరి నా తోడుగా. గొప్ప కొండలు ఎదురైనా లోతైన లోయలైనా నా ఆత్మ కాపరి నా తోడుగా. నెమ్మదైన పచ్చికలైన జలయేరు ప్రక్కనైనా నా ఆత్మ కాపరి నా తోడుగా. గొప్ప కొండలు ఎదురైనా లోతైన లోయలైనా నా ఆత్మ కాపరి నా తోడుండు. Praise God. Can we all stand for a few minutes in the presence of the Lord to worship Him? Let's all stand in His presence and praise His holy name for a couple of minutes. నేను నా ఇల్లు నా ఇంటి వారందరూ మానక స్తుతించెదము. నేను నా ఇల్లు నా ఇంటి వారందరూ మానక స్తుతించెదము. నీ కనుపాపవలె నన్ను కాచి నేను చెదరక మోసావు స్తోత్రం. నీ కనుపాపవలె నన్ను కాచి నేను చెదరక మోసావు స్తోత్రం. ఎబినేజరే ఎబినేజరే ఇంతకాలం కాచితివే. ఎబినేజరే ఎబినేజరే నా తోడువై నడచితివే. ఎబినేజరే ఎబినేజరే ఇంతకాలం కాచితివే. ఎబినేజరే ఎబినేజరే నా తోడువై నడచితివే. స్తోత్రం 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 కనుపాపగా కాచితివి. స్తోత్రం 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 కౌగిలిలో దాచితివి. స్తోత్రం. Shall you all say it? ఎబినేజరే 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 ఇంతకాలం కాచితివే. ఓ ఎబినేజరే ఎబినేజరే నా తోడువై నడచితివే. మరొకసారి చెప్తాం. ఎబినేజరే 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 ఇంతకాలం కాచితివే. కాచితివి స్తోత్రం 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 కౌగిలిలో దాచితివి స్తోత్రం ఆకాశములు నీ మహిమను వివరించుచున్నవి అంతరిక్షము నీ చేతి పనిని వర్ణించుచున్నది ఆకాశములు నీ మహిమను వివరించుచున్నవి అంతరిక్షము నీ చేతి పనిని వర్ణించుచున్నది దేవా నా ప్రాణము నీ కొరకే తప్పించుచున్నది దేవా నా ప్రాణము నీ కొరకే తప్పించుచున్నది ఆరాధింతును 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 నా రాజువు నీవే నా తండ్రివి నీవే నిన్ను విడువను Shall we all say this word? నా రాజువు నీవే నా రాజువు నీవే నా తండ్రివి నీవే నిన్ను విడువను ఎడబాయను యేసయ్యా నా రాజువు నీవే నా తండ్రివి నీవే నిన్ను విడువను ఎడబాయను నా రాజువు నీవే నా తండ్రివి నీవే నిన్ను విడువను ఎడబాయను
Praise the Lord. Thank you, worship team. I request you all to have your seats. Once again, we welcome back you all for the afternoon session from Touch Team Andi. I hope you all had an interactive lunch, isn't it? Shared lot of testimonies, insights, or maybe a lot of things you shared in the lunch. So we welcome back you all once again. I request Dr. Sunil Chandy sir to come forward and take over the section.
So let me start by revealing a trade secret. When you have council meetings, no board meetings, we keep all the difficult topics after lunch, so that board members will be not as attentive, and we can pass many things without much discussion. I'm just joking. So since the Q&A has been postponed to post lunch, we hope there won't be many questions. But this is open for us to discuss the questions or comments or opinions, disagreements on what we have heard this morning. We have some written questions. You can read it out, and if it's not coming there. can disconnect. Huh? Okay. It's on this. Huh? No, I'm asking if there are any questions you can stand and ask, or is it on session? No? Same thing. No? Okay. Yeah, okay. Okay. This is the first time in my life when an audience wants the third lecture. Normally in medical colleges, when you give a lecture, the students are making all kinds of gestures to say, enough, get out. Thank you. So I've been asked to take one more session, which I took for a few medical students yesterday, very informally. This is actually a conceptual talk based on biblical principles. And this talk has a very general audience spectrum. This has been given to corporate leaders, to college students, to medical students, many groups. So I'll modify it for you. So that this is about head, heart, and hands. Again, all of us will know these three organ system. But let me begin with this picture. If you can just reduce the light here, then we may be able to see it better. So 90 years ago, this man was in the news, right? And his claim to fame was several instances like this on the bottom. He massacred about 1 million Jews, was responsible for World War II. He left many orphans, children homeless, many escaped, many were put to concentration camps. So let me ask, was he a leader? Yes, he was, although he did bad things. Right. Good. Around the same time, there was another man in our country who did this. He got into loincloth almost and walked the length and breadth of the country to set one country free. Same time. Okay. Was he a leader? Around a little later, 1910 to 1997, there's another person who was a lady who was 4 feet 8 inches tall, came from another country. And she brought life and health to many in a small way by just looking after them, putting bandage on their wounds, picking them from the streets, bringing them, old people dying. Was she a leader? Okay, so what's the difference between her and Adolf Hitler? You said all three are leaders, right? So what's the definition of a leader? Servant leader. Adolf Hitler was not a servant leader. So the point is this, that in the definition of a leader, if you take any definition, who's a leader? A leader is a person who impacts or influences a group of people to achieve a goal. That's it. Good goal, bad goal, doesn't say in the classification, the definition. Okay. So sometimes you people are confused, about what leadership is about. The person who was responsible for this, was he a leader? By that definition, a person who influenced a group of people to achieve a certain goal. 3,000 people died. 600 people died on the flights that bombarded into this tower. So, with this in background, I want to talk to you about head, heart, and hands in leadership. Three organ systems that is we are familiar with. What is the symbolism of those three organs in leadership? Okay. What makes a leader take a good decision? What makes you and I to do something that turns out to be good or bad in everyday life, in your family, in your organization, your church? Okay. So let's look at it. Now, God made us in His image. God did not make the rest of the animal kingdom in His image. Only man and woman He made. Put a lot of effort. Let us make man. Till then, it was only let there be, let there be, let there be. But I believe He put in a lot of effort because it was a plural, collective effort by whoever was with Him, maybe the angels or whoever. Let us make man in our own image, and He made us very uniquely. And what is unique? Three things are unique: our head, brain, our heart, and our hands. This is different in us from our closest animal cousin, which is the monkey. Leave all the rest of the animals aside. Why is it so? Because our head, our brain, is the seat of intelligence, quite above what the monkey has. Ingenuity, intricacy, the ability to perform complex acts, solve a problem, play Monopoly, Sudoku, chess. Nobody else can do it. The ability to handle complex problems, intricacy, storehouse of information. Of course, very soon we won't need our brains because AI will do everything. But till then, we have a seat of information. Insight, which is perspective based on experiences, which animals don't have. They have for that moment. They don't have insights. They don't have perspectives. You see how unique we are in that regard. Memory. Okay. And the seat of justice, the ability to say right and wrong, fair, not fair, is again because of our brain. And there are certain occupations and professions where the brain is supreme. In fact, if they have only the brain without the heart and hand, also they can function. Scientists, philosophers, thinkers, mathematicians, law and order people, finance, strategists, managers. Okay. A scientist is a thinker. His brain works, ideas and strategies, philosophers. Okay, they don't need anything else. They're very happy and their brain works. No emotion, no soft aspects. They can work. What about this? I like this organ. There's a cardiac surgeon here. Where is he? Gone off. Huh? He went for surgery. So the heart, if we ask young people, how many of you are young here? All of us. I'm also young. But younger people to draw the cartoon of a heart, how will they draw? Like that, right? Or draw it like that. Symmetrical. Suppose I say color it. Which color? Red or pink. So, but it's not like that. Those of you who have seen a heart in anatomy dissection, is it like that? Far from it. It's the ugliest organ that you can see. It is actually brown black in color. It is fidgety, disobedient. It is not central here. It's one-sided. That too left, most people. Correct? But still it's a very, very, very amazing organ. Why? You just calculate. 72 beats per minute. 1 day. 1 month, so many times it beats. In 1 month. In 1 year. Can you count? Even the calculator will not count. It will show error. If you have lived for 70 years, it beats without stopping so many times. It doesn't stop. If it stops more than 30 seconds, then your address changes. Correct? That's how amazing it is. And it's a pump. So if it pumps 2000 gallons a day of blood, in 70 years, it will pump 50 million gallons in a lifetime. No annual maintenance contract, no lubrication, no spare part removal. Tell me one pump which can do this. If it doesn't pump for 30 seconds, it's over. Okay? Now I'm not talking to you about the anatomy of the heart, but the heart has also got a lot of philosophical or symbolic significance. We'll talk about that. But it is considered to be the seat of love, seat of joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness. Where am I quoting from? Okay. All the fruits of the Spirit don't come from here, comes from the heart. Anybody in anatomy here? Thank God, I'm happy that there's no. Because I'm not telling you that if you dissect the heart in the superior pole, there'll be one nucleus of love. Here is one center. Not like that, symbolically. Okay? It is like that. And therefore, it converts to concern, inclusion, the quality of othering, empathy, compassion, forgiveness, generosity, service, and mercy. We mentioned justice from here, but mercy from here. Okay? And therefore, some occupations, some professions need a huge portion of the heart. Teachers. If the teacher doesn't have any love for children or concern for children, can't be a teacher. Doctors, healthcare, nurses, clergy and ministry. Okay, those who are in the business of pastoral care, they need not have a genius-like brain, but they need to have a lot of, heart in them to be effective. Social service, philanthropy, those who are in the service industry, and leaders. Managers need brain. Leaders don't need brains. I'm just exaggerating. They need brains, but they also need a good part of the heart. Why? Because Proverbs 4:23 says, above all else, guard your heart, for it is the wellspring of life. It doesn't say brain. Okay? What about the hands? You look at your hand. Just look at your hand. I'm sure there's somebody has taught you. You know how unique this is from the monkey's hand? Those got 5 fingers, but they cannot do this. There's a group of muscles that are missing. Okay? And this ability is what helps you with many things that are unique. Your dexterity. Okay, the ability to play a violin or a guitar or a piano or a keyboard, to do artwork, to do dance. Okay, that poise and grace that comes from human hands. Communication. You don't talk with your voice alone, but with your hands. The way you gesture, point, can convey gentleness, rudeness, whatever it might be. Art and the entire spectrum of doing things. And there are lots of occupations that need hands. Okay, like art and craftsmen, artisans, manual occupations, potters, carpenters, musicians. Okay, surgical disciplines. You can't be a surgeon if you don't have fingers as supple and soft. Okay, and of course those who handle machinery. So this is the anatomical component. What's that got to do with leadership? Because the head, the heart, and the hands actually represents intellect, emotion, and action in leadership. You have to have a proportion of all these things. Now, how do we mix it? How do they relate to each other? Is it only intellect? Is it only emotion? Or is it just action? Unless you have all three, you cannot be a good leader. So I'm proposing to you a paradigm, okay, which you won't find it in any journal because this is not referenced. But I'm only presenting a concept to you from what I have learned. Now, your brain is the powerhouse of ideas. Okay? It's a center of unbridled neuronal activity where you have a crazy amount of thoughts that come to you in the brain. That can be good or bad. All right? Now, if your hands were to react to that every time, it's likely that many things will go wrong. So, what happens normally in normal life is that those thoughts will go down to your heart. There are no neural pathways, but it will descend to the symbolic heart, which controls all these things. And it is like a chalni on sieve. Those thoughts should come down to the heart, where you start to ask these questions. Now, this idea that I'm having, what is the idea? Today morning, I'll go and bash that fellow up because he abused me yesterday. Morning, you get up, you're all full of energy. But then over breakfast, you tone down. Why? Is it good? Is it needed? Is it good for life? What I'm going to do, is it going to help anyone live or not live? Should I do it? Is it helpful? Will it give me joy? These are not questions you ask one by one, but these things come as you think. And somewhere here, you are processing that, and then you get a clear answer. Let me wait. No, it's not good. Or this is a good idea. Okay? That let me go and help out the orphanage in the neighborhood. Should I? Is it good? Is it pro-life? Yes, yes, yes. And then it goes down to action. That's your hands. What falls into your hands through this sieve is what converts to good deeds. Okay. 2000 years ago, there's an example of this process. When there was a situation when the 5,000 people were hungry, and there was Jesus, his disciples, and 5,000 people. End of the day, and they were hungry and said, how can we help? Disciples had their heads thinking. Logistic convenience. What did they say? Let them go to the villages. 5,000 people, crazy. How can we feed them? They will mind their own business. Same thing that we do often, no? Hey, it's not our problem. Let them go, and they are old enough, mature enough to do it. But Jesus processed the same stimulus through the sieve of his heart. He said, no, that's not fair. What do we do? Is there anyone with any food here? Bring it to me. Let me see what I can do. The response was different. Right? And the action was also different. Another situation where the evil one actually engaged with the brain, Jesus' brain, Jesus' intellect. All the three questions or offers were intellectual. He was challenging his intellect and his power and authority, not his emotion. You're Son of God? Command these stones that it may be made bread. Why not? You're Son of God. Yeah, correct. Why not? We also have that situation. Hey, you're director. No, just do it. You're leader. You have the power. Why can't? Why can't you? But he did it differently. He waited. He thought. Where's he come from? What is his mission? And his responses were different when he processed it from the head right to the heart, and then through a circuitous journey, it goes to his hands for action. Another situation. And I love this parable because here is a story where you got three reactions, two which the head processed, and the third one which the heart processed. Same stimulus, same plot, but the response was completely different. The two who went before him saw it, their heart was not moved. Their brain told them, you got work, you will be off time, people are waiting there, church has to start. Taking care of this man is not important. Same thing the Levi said. They moved on. This man also was going for something. He was not taking an evening walk. He was also going for a purpose. But he said, no, I have to do something. Sensible, sensitive, concerned. So he steps out of his track. He walks the extra mile. And it's a long story for him. Not only did he nurse his wound, but he also took him on his donkey back to the inn, admitted him, told him, care for him. I have to go and finish my work. On my way back, I'll pay you. Why? Because he let that impulse travel from here to here, and his response was completely different. So there are three things that happen in leadership. And when I say leadership, don't think that it's only for directors and managers. No, it's for all of you. Because in some way or the other, you're leading somebody. Husband leading the family, mother leading the family, leading the church, leading the community. We are all leaders, and therefore we'll face this. When the head bypasses the heart, which means that the thought process goes from here to here, it's called reactive decision making. On the spot. You don't wait for the time. And then you have examples like this. Okay? Calamity, terror strikes. They are trained not to allow thought processes or their philosophy to pierce the heart. We have to do that. That's it. Do it. Or the attack on the Capitol Hill, or the war in Ukraine or Gulf, where they can see thousands of children being shot dead. No mercy. Or this, reactive. Okay, there can be a situation where it's all heart, no head. Okay, fortunately only few situations. Young people will be very familiar with this. Boy meets girl, they fall in love. The world becomes heaven. I have found my prince. He is the world. She is the world. We are in heaven. They don't ask the brain, hey, is it correct for me? Is it right for my destiny? Okay. And the result can be good or bad. Okay. Not good. But when the head seeks the heart, as it's expected, then stories like the Good Samaritan will happen. And the Good Samaritan story symbolizes the Christian witness every day of our life. Okay? I have mentioned about this, so I won't go through it. Okay. His heart melted. So here what happened in this situation is that the Good Samaritans Heart melted, head moved, head planned, and the hands moved. And the outcome was completely different. Another story in the Bible where you have this fallen woman being brought to Jesus, and the heady people, intellectuals, priests saying, kill her, stone her. The law says that. Justice. But Jesus allows that to sink into his heart, and he does it differently. He doesn't condemn her, but he doesn't approve of what she has done, but as a person, he values her. And then the hands move to write something on the floor. You see how the outcome is different? This is leadership. Okay? Always justice as per the law is not good leadership, because leadership is about people. And you have to see what you can do to preserve people. Another story in the New Testament where two brothers are all about the head. The younger one who said, give me my share. He calculated and said, 50% is mine. I want to live my life. No emotion, no reciprocation. Okay, you've lived your life. Give me mine. I want to enjoy. He goes, then he comes back. When he comes back, you have the elder brother saying, what is this? Why should I cut the lamb for him? He has had his fun. I have struggled. His decision making stayed at this level. He forgot that he was a brother. No forgiveness. No reconciliation. But the father did it differently. He knew what his son had done was wrong. He knew what the elder boy was saying was not correct. But he explained, because he allowed that whole situation to go to his heart. He felt for both of them. And the outcome was different. Alfred Nobel, not many people know, became rich and famous because of what he invented, which was dynamite. He regretted. He said, my God, I have made something that's going to destroy people. He regretted, but what could he do? It was already invented, it was in the papers, but he became very rich overnight. Then it went down to his heart, say, what is it that I can do? What is a restitution I can do to reconcile to this? And then he went on to institute the prizes in academics, in literature, mainly in peace. That was his prayaschitam. Why? Because he, at some point in his life, allowed this whole message to sink. There's a true story 2 years back. A young mountaineer a Jew mountaineer, tried to climb the Everest. And if he would have climbed, he would have been the youngest Israeli to climb Mount Everest. He was 150 feet away from the top. And as he was crossing that, he saw another mountaineer almost dying in frostbite. And this is what he wrote. I was faced with a choice to be the youngest Israeli to climb Everest, which would have been great for my career, or to try take the climber off the mountain. I chose the second option, and he saved him. He lost his moment of glory, recognition, awards, because he allowed his heart to take over, not his mind. It's an important message for us. How much do we put aside for the sake of another person, which is part of our gospel? This is what we did not do enough. A colleague of mine in my office during the COVID time, who's not a Christian, senior man, much older to me, came to my room and said, Doc, I have a lot of regard for Christians. He's from Pakistan. He studied in Lahore in Christian schools. He studied in St. Stephen's. He's related to some big people in Delhi. He said, all my life, and in his room, he's got a New Testament. But he said, I'm disappointed. What happened? He said, where were you good Samaritans during the COVID? We didn't see any of you helping. True. It was the Sikhs who were doing langars. He said this in good faith, in good interest. He said, Doc, I'm disappointed. What happened to you? You are the people who showed Good Samaritan to the world. Listen to this. Just put a mic there. Is that playing from there? Play from here, huh?
Thank you. Good morning, sir. Good morning, Judge. Mr. Coelho, you are charged with a school zone violation. Beg pardon? You are charged with a school zone violation, which means that you were exceeding the speed limit in a school zone. I don't drive that fast, Judge. I'm 96 years old and I drive slowly, and I only drive when I have to. I was going to the blood work for my boy. He's handicapped. You were taking your son to the doctor's office? Yeah. I take him for blood work every 2 weeks because he's got cancer. You are a good man. You are a good man. You really are what America is all about. Here you are in your 90s, and you're still taking care of your family. That's just a wonderful thing for you. Well, how old is your son? 63. Yeah. And Daddy's still taking care of him, right? I only drive when I have to. Sir, I wish you all the best. I wish the best for your son, and I wish you good health. And your case is dismissed. Good luck to you, and God bless you. Thank you.
Okay. Justice, he violated something. He has to pay a fine. That's justice. Actually, you don't need a human being to determine that. The law books will say it. But here was a judge who allowed that whole story to sink into his heart. He said, yes, you violated, but I understand what you're doing. People like you make this country great. You're taking care of your son who's 63. He's 96. So your case is dismissed. Mercy. Okay? And this is the reason why there's a mercy option with the President of India for criminals who are to be hanged. Why should there be? Because the Constitution recognizes this ethic which is taught in our faith, justice and mercy. Okay. So in leadership of any kind, there are three things that come: your head, your heart, and your hands. And if you want to be an effective leader that leaves an impact for the welfare of people, then you have to balance. It's not 50-50. Sometimes it's 75-25, 25-75, 10-90. But that middle level is never zero. That is what will demarcate you as a good Christian leader. And when you do that, then your hands, which is receiving this information, will always do good things. Watch this video.
mysteries plain. Make us again what we were made to be. Transform, revive, and heal society. Faithful to God, ever may we be. Selfless in service, loving constantly. In everything, may our love exceed. Transform, revive, and heal society. Transform, revive, and heal society.
Question time.
Yeah, kindly note, if you have any questions, go to your browser, type slido.com, and there's a small window there. Next to the hashtag, you can enter that code 2332882, and then you'll be led to the screen where you can see all these questions. You can also post your question, it will be anonymous. If you have any further leading questions, also you can ask. You can scan the QR code also if it is possible.
Sir, shall I read the question or you can? So, how to restore is in soon hospitals. I don't understand. How to restore?
Okay. How to restore? What is that? It's soon hospital. No?
Restore
Sick hospital.
soon hospitals.
What does that mean? Whoever wrote that question, what does that mean?
Fallen off.
If a Christian got financial blessing, is it not a blessing from God? Of course it is. When you say financial blessing, what does it mean? What does it mean? Don't we all feel that we are all blessed financially? But none of us have a resort in Monaco or Monte Carlo or a Lamborghini car. Financial blessings are from God, but financial blessings are not the only marker of God's blessings. There are lots of people who are poor but are still blessed. Okay? But we need finances to live, and we must live comfortably with dignity, which means we must have food on the plate for ourselves and the children. We must have money to take care of our health. We must have a roof on our head for the family. The children must be educated. Okay, we must have some money to retire. Yesterday we were talking to Dr. Kumar about why mission hospitals are collapsing, because there's a misconception about what this is all about. So financial blessings in a general way, yes, but not the kind of lavishness that God never promised. But if you are lavish, God is telling you to part with it to 100 avenues where there is a need. And actually, the philanthropists who do that are actually following that dictum. They may not be Christians. And this is governed by a phenomenon called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. How many of you have heard that? It is taught in management schools. Maslow's hierarchy, or Maslow was not a Christian. I think he was a Jew. So he spelt out hierarchy of needs, which means that as you grow from your childhood years to a level, you don't derive satisfaction or fulfillment from what you get, but you derive satisfaction from what you want to give back. And that's the trigger for people like Azim Premji and Ratan Tata, who got so much of wealth and they want to give it away. And in that giving, that they are blessed with huge money, and they do that. So if you are one of those who's got money more than what you and your family need, give it away to those who are in dire need. That's when you will start getting blessings. If a Christian asks God for financial freedom, is it wrong? Absolutely not wrong. We are talking about financial freedom. You don't want to be begging anyone. And again, the reason why mission hospitals are not robust anymore is that this is forgotten. I know many doctors who've spent 30, 40 years in the missions and then are passing their hat around because the wife has had a stroke and he has no money to care for her medical expenses. Sad story. So just because you're a missionary or a pastor or a ministry worker, it doesn't mean that you have to beg. And it's our combined responsibility to make sure that there's dignity in pastoral work. Okay? So please pray for financial freedom. It's different from financial abundance or overabundance. If the husband is unfaithful and the wife is willing to forgive him, but husband doesn't, regretting, how should she? How should? Okay, it's understood the question. If the husband is unfaithful, let me get it right. If the husband is unfaithful, the wife is willing to forgive, but husband is not regretful. Difficult situation. The wife must pray, keep praying for a breakthrough. Okay? At some point in time, regret will come, I believe. Yes. What if a person does not realize or acknowledge their mistake in reconciliation? What if they take advantage of us? This, ma'am, you asked, no? Same question. What if a person does not realize or acknowledge their mistake in reconciliation? What if they take advantage of us and don't give respect in that relationship? There's no reconciliation there. It's only a contractual agreement. Because reconciliation is a binary, it's a bilateral, it's a dual act. It may not be 100% on both sides, but there has to be some degree of agreement. Now we begin there and then build it up. If one is 100 and the other is 0, you can't have reconciliation. Again, you have to fall back on prayer for a breakthrough. What is, sorry, please explain prosperity gospel. Is it wrong? Uh, Again, you have to qualify what is prosperity. Okay. The kind of prosperity that is being campaigned for, at least what we see on the internet, what the facts are, we don't know, is not correct, in my personal opinion. Okay. Where money becomes the reason and effect for everything, where the head of that ministry has got 3 aircrafts to fly, okay, and lives in a mansion, doesn't pay taxes, that's not prosperity. Okay. So would you consider Mother Teresa to be a prosperous person? I would. She had nothing. But look at the impact she created. She's the only Christian leader for who secular leaders will stand up. But she had nothing. She had 2 sets of clothes. It's being prosperous. Difficult for us to get into that frame. But as you look at some of the prosperity gospel heads today in the US, what is happening to them? They are under the scanner. FBI is chasing them. They evade taxes. Okay. So I think we'll stop there. Is it possible for faith? Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Is it possible for faith and experience to coexist harmoniously?
Faith and experience means what? Whoever wrote that question.
Question.
Yeah, no, we must answer that. Faith and experience means what? Negative experiences. I think we all have experience and faith in different proportions. A lot of your faith impacts your experience. Okay, the way you do something, there's a basis for that. Your ethical stand on things comes from some foundation, and that in our case is our faith. Correct? So our experiences are therefore impacted by the faith, and the reverse way also. Some negative experiences reinforce your faith. Positive experiences also reinforce your faith. Some negative experiences shake your faith. Very difficult to reconcile to that some things that you've experienced, you start becoming suspicious and cynical. Is this what it's all about? When you look at some of your role models collapsing, it shakes you a bit. So there is an interconnection between the two. Okay.
So when there are differences between two leaders based on theology or church-led doctrines, how can they both restore and reconcile?
Church-led doctrines, how can they both restore and
Restore.
reconcile? It's up to them to do it. The congregation cannot. Isn't it? Yeah, if we want them to reconcile, it will not happen. They must, it's a two-person act, no? It is not even a group activity. You can't have opposition and treasury benches coming to a reconciliation all uniformly. Not possible. It's like that. So they have to understand that this is not leading the church anywhere, and they must have a process of restoration and reconciliation.
So 5 tips for Christian doctors community to be together and serve as a community.
5 tips for Christian doctors community to be together
And serve as a community.
Okay. I don't think it's very difficult to do. Again, it starts with a resolution. When you say 5 to doctors community to be together means what? I suppose to be in the same mission setup or may in the hospital. Maybe? Yeah, unity On what platform? Within the same hospital system, or I think it starts with, we know of so many doctor groups that have got together either because of a movement. Just 5 doctors from some common ground have got together and said, let's go to some place remote and start a mission. So, what does it start with? It starts with a decision. All right. And you have to process that again. That idea has to be processed through the heart. Is it good? Is it something that we can do? Pray about it for God's leading. All right. And then do what is called strategic management. To be together and serve as a community. The rest of it is a long process. To serve as a community will not happen in 3 days' time. It's a journey that you are embarking together with its trials and frustrations and tribulations and illnesses. It's a long journey to serve as a community. We know of several people who, you know, started together and then we suddenly heard, no, X has quit, Z has quit, only Y remains. Problems of life. So it's a very difficult thing to do nowadays. Not impossible, but very difficult to do. I don't have any 5 tips that I can give like that. You highlighted it, huh? 5 tips, like, nowadays, if you open the internet, you will have, five ways of becoming a good leader, 10 tips to become a good manager. Okay, so it's not like that. The Christian journey is very difficult and very heterogeneous. How to restore? That question is coming back.
I have an extended question regarding regret. Already you have said. Till now, I heard that we shouldn't have regrets in our life. But what is the difference between regret and the guilt?
Okay, guilt is a negative sentiment. Okay, regret is not so negative, it's positive. Because regret will lead you to a corrective action. Guilt will lead you to be detached, aloof, move away because you're guilty. When they say that you don't maintain eye contact, why? Guilt. Okay, if you've done something wrong and you're guilty, you're not regretful, you're guilty, then I can't look at you. So I look at the sun, the moon, the stars. It's a negative emotion, but it may evolve to regret. But regret is the first stepping stone for reconciliation. It's, you're feeling bad about it. Okay, did I answer that question? Okay. The only thing I didn't answer was how soon we can shut down mission hospitals, something like that.
Is anyone
We don't have
else
to
having
try, it's
questions?
shutting down.
Yes, sir, thank you so much.
Okay,
sir.
thank you very
for
much.
your answers. Thank you for the session, sir. Thank you so much.